but now we turn our attention around the association. We're still very far off from an NFL season even beginning. We're in the final 5-6 games of this NBA regular season, where each win has some sort of significance and implication on the playoff standings, including last night in Boston. The Celtics win by 35, 135-100 over Oklahoma City. The Thunder did not have Shea Gildress Alexander. And frankly, Boston just wins games at home. 36 inside TD Garden this year. They are now 33-3. They've been booked as a favorite in all 36. Make that 21-15 against the spread. As without SGA, the Celtics booked as a 12-point home favorite. Easily cover that number.
Yeah, getting back-to-back games late in the season, being injured late in the season where you're trying to knock down that number one seed in the Western Conference really hasn't helped Oklahoma City out. They got hammered yesterday, and as we talked about to start the show, that final quarter, 42-17 Boston, as they won by 35 points. You didn't even have to stress out here. It was basically hanging around in the first half for OKC, but again, when you're losing games by 35 points, something has to go wrong because they're a good basketball team, which means they were injured. Yes, they were. Back-to-back, absolutely. Perfect storm for Boston to clean up and clinch that number one overall record in the NBA. I won't look at these last two games as, oh, no, Oklahoma City, that's the team we thought they always were. They can't handle it when the lights are the brightest. Come on, man.
Right.
Back-to-backs here and being injured. Any team's going to lose those basketball games. Not shining a light here down on OKC. But Boston, come on, man. 33-3 at home. Knock it off.
11-8-1 against the spread for OKC as an underdog, but they have not covered in their last two against the Sixers on Tuesday, last night inside TD Garden in Beantown against the Celtics. So as Donnie said, 33-3 at home. That's the home record for the Celtics, where they will be for the entirety of their time in the NBA postseason, through the Eastern Conference and even in a potential NBA championship series, because they have 60 wins and they clinched the best NBA regular season record. So now, Donnie, they are half the price of everybody else around the NBA. Plus 170 for Boston, plus 350 for the Nuggets. You can see the numbers there. Yes, the Clippers can make a run. The Bucks are that second peg team in the Eastern Conference. But based on the odds, we're already kind of seeing who the odds makers expect to be in that NBA Finals.
Exactly. And also you're looking at it from a Boston Celtics perspective where they're going to have every single game or every single, I should say, series wind up in Game 7 if they need it on their home court. And we just told you they're 33-3. They are the best team by far and maybe catching a break here late in the season where you can rest guys into the playoffs. Hopefully it doesn't affect them all that greatly in round number one because usually you ease into the playoffs as the top overall seed. I don't think they're going to ease into the playoffs with the matchups that we're looking at here between 6, 7, and 8 currently in the Eastern Conference. You're going to get a good one right out of the gate. But the one thing that we do know is they'll be rested for those teams. They are the best team in the NBA. It's just up to them to execute once they get to the playoffs.
So a big loss for OKC despite not having Shea Gildress Alexander. This 2-game skid now. The Thunder a game behind both Minnesota and Denver for that top overall seed in the Western Conference. That is a race in these final 5-6 games of the NBA regular season. We'll detail where the Western Conference standings are on the other side of the break as well. A big win in the Valley yesterday for the Suns. Again, each and every game in some form or fashion affects your seed line in the NBA standing. Around the association, we continue next. Around the association we go. As we only have a week and a half left in this NBA regular season, a week from Sunday, that is it. It's all about postseason positioning. Where is your seed line? Trying to be in one of the top 6 spots in both of the conferences to avoid the play-in tournament, or maybe jockeying for position in those play-in tournament seedings at this point. And that was a key last night, Donnie, in Phoenix for the Suns at home in the Valley against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs struggling as of late as well, trying to hold on to the 3 spot in the Eastern Conference. But they did take an L last night on the road in the desert. The Suns win by 21, 122-101 over the Cavaliers. They got a 40-point performance from Devin Booker. KD added in 30-plus more in the Suns win and cover as a 5.5-point home favorite.
This is what we're waiting for the Suns. Big three being healthy, playing good basketball, which is what they're finally doing, 45-31 on the season. But if you take a look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, their starting lineup wasn't bad yesterday. Mobley, 20, Allen, 20, Garland, 15, Mitchell, 24. Strus chipped in there with 9 points, but he got nothing out of the bench there. 13 total points coming off the bench, and that's what's going to do you in. You still need that depth. But if we were looking at the game yesterday overall for myself, I still don't know what to get out of Phoenix. Like, they're eventually going to force me to take a flyer on them once we get to the end of the regular season if this keeps up, which means they're healthy and they're playing well. And quite frankly, like Bradley Beal, just get in when you need to here. If you have a night-to-night basis like we talk about the Dallas Mavericks, right, with their two superstars at the top, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, if you got those guys going well, you could beat anybody. And last night, Durant, 32 points, Booker, 40 points, fresh off that 52-point game. This is the top end of the spectrum for the Phoenix Suns, where if they bring this type of game to the NBA playoffs, they are going to be a tough out over a 7-game series. But I don't know if I want to buy in. 2 weeks ago, I was completely out. This team's a bum. They're choke artists. I can't get down with it. And now I look at games like this and say to myself, why not? Why not Phoenix? I know they're going to money burn me by far if I do take them, but I feel like I have to take them now again, and it's making me upset.
So you saw those NBA championship odds for the Suns at 23-1. A couple of weeks ago, I started to buy into Phoenix, thinking that, all right, we've hit the bottom of this valley here in the valley. I'll go in. I got a 12-1 number on the Suns. It is worse than that now. I'm going to burn money on Phoenix, but with that same thought, Donnie, I am invested in the Suns figuring it out. They need more out of Bradley Beal, because last year we saw KD and D-Book combined for 70-plus in pretty much every playoff game, and they ran out of gas because nobody else was contributing. This year they have Grayson Allen. They have Bradley Beal. They have some pieces you would think for the Suns to be able to make a run. We shall see. But, Donnie, there's always that disappointing team around the NBA that has high expectations from the odds makers, that we see it on an individual basis each and every game night, where they are booked as a favorite and they don't cover a number even if they win marginally. Well, the Suns have now won 7 of their last 10 games, and they have covered in all 7 wins. The Suns have been one of the 3 worst cover teams in the NBA all season long. Now we're starting to see them perform and even exceed the odds expectation, which is always a good thing. Last night's total of 227 does stay under. The Cavs, though, still over in 7 of their last 9 games. When you look at Cleveland in the Eastern Conference, half-game lead for that 3 spot, still in front of the Orlando Magic. But a big victory yesterday for Orlando on the road in New Orleans. They went outright as a 4.5-point underdog against the Pelicans in the Big Easy. Final score, 117-108. Paolo Banchero goes off for 32 points. And the Magic, who are the NBA's best cover team, but have been struggling to cover some numbers as of late, went outright as an underdog yesterday in New Orleans.
I was surprised by this game because I thought the Pelicans were the better team here. Even though coming into the basketball game, Orlando had won 2 straight games. The Pelicans had lost 2 straight. I thought it was a great spot on their home court to sort of rectify the situation, meaning, hey, New Orleans, you got to win some basketball games down the stretch if you want to avoid the play-in tournament here at the end. I don't know if that's going to happen now. I hate everything that I'm seeing out of the New Orleans Pelicans, but on the contrary, that's a nice win for Orlando. Like, they're 45-31. They're a quality basketball team here, flying under the radar because everybody's just expecting once they get into the playoffs that they're going to crumble. But these are de facto playoff games for the Orlando Magic, so they can stay out of the play-in tournament at the end of the season, or the play-in rounds, going up against teams of the like of the Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat. You're trying to hold off the Indiana Pacers. They're just winning basketball games, going about their business. But I want to put that panic, like New Orleans is supposed to be better than this. They're supposed to be handling their business, maybe even a top 3 seed with the talent that they have on the roster. It's just not playing up to its part right now. 3 straight losses here. That can't happen.
Both the Suns and the Pels, 45-31, but based on the tiebreaker advantages at the moment for Phoenix, the Suns in the 6th spot. New Orleans on this 3-game skid falls into the 7th seed in the Western Conference. Of course, that would be the top team in the play-in tournament, but you don't want to be in the play-in tournament. Weird ending of the game yesterday in the final seconds because of the way Orlando plays. Physical, it was a grinded-out game. Of course, maybe some of the frustration for the 3-game losing streak. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, and Dyson Daniels, all 3 players for the Pelicans, get ejected in the final seconds of the game last night in NOLA. And Zion Williamson left early with what the Pelicans are calling a finger injury. Now we go to the nation's capital. The Lakers playing pretty good basketball at this moment. They don't cover last night against the Wizards as a 13-point road favorite in D.C., but they do win by 5, 125-120. The Lakers now have won 8 of their last 9 games. They have covered in 6 of those 8 wins. Last night's total, even booked up there at 236, goes over. The Lakers, some offensive output. They've gone over in 10 of their previous 14 games.
How about this? One of the better teams in the NBA right now is the Los Angeles Lakers, playing great basketball down the stretch and healthy. Who would have thought that? Now, granted, the Washington Wizards aren't a great franchise, 15-62 now, but they did come up with a victory against the Milwaukee Bucks. They'll bite you here if you let them, but the Lakers were too good yesterday, which did include 38 minutes out of Anthony Davis and 36 minutes out of LeBron James on a back-to-back performance, something that we might thought maybe one, or if not both, might be sitting out this game. And credit D'Angelo Russell, coming up big for me yesterday. Had him to make 4 3-point shots or more at a plus 128 price, 4 of 10 from 3-point range. Worked out perfectly here. Great win for the Lakers, not because it's against a team they should beat, but this is how you handle your business comfortably now in that play-in round.
All 5 starters for LA scored at least 16 points in that starting lineup. The Lakers have won 3 straight. They're making up a little ground. The Lakers have already played 77 games. They only have 5 left in this regular season, but they're now a game behind the Sacramento Kings, who sit in the 8th spot. The Lakers are going to be in the play-in tournament more than likely at this moment, but they could move up to the 7-8 line and only have to win 1 game in the NBA's play-in tournament to see the postseason once again. Big win for the Lakers, even though they do not cover on the road in D.C.